Thank you, Kenneth. My topic today is innovate your approach, rework, and waste reduction. So I'm the next presenter. I look forward to showing you a lot of great tools and have a nice presentation where I will present some of the topics that we are challenged with in the construction industry. My name is Hamid Gomi. I've been with NTI for plus 10 years, working with various Autodesk software, with Autodesk Construction Cloud being one of my favorite applications. With a background as a contractor, I am familiar with some of the challenges we see on construction sites. I'm very happy to be with you today, and I hope my session can inspire your company and see how easily we can collaborate on projects in the cloud. So the agenda is that I'm going to speak a bit about the experiences that I encounter when speaking with our customers. I'm going to address some of the challenges that participants in building projects faces. And that will be the first part of my presentation. Afterwards, I will present a bit from the Autodesk Construction Cloud Live and provide my suggestions for a set of tools that can help address the challenges that may arise when there are so many different stakeholders involved in a construction project. Some of the topics I see challenging our customers is topics like ineffective communication and collaboration, design changes during the project, lack of coordination, inefficient document management, and a lack of data-driven decision-making. So if we dive further into these topics, the first one is ineffective communication and collaboration. This is often caused by complex projects or complex project structures. Dealing with large construction projects often involve many stakeholders, including architects, engineers, contractors, subcontractors, and suppliers. So coordinating communication among these diverse teams can be challenging because each team is often working in their own environment. We have a poor information flow. So information does not flow smoothly between different phases of the project or among team members. And delays in sharing critical updates or changes can result in confusion. Sometimes we need to do rework because we did a part of the building and then realized that we were building according to old drawings. We have a lack of collaboration tools. So projects without the appropriate collaboration tools may rely heavily on emails and phone calls, leading to fragmented information. And that can lead to communication and misinformation errors. Across the project, we have a lot of design changes. Unforeseen site conditions such as poor soil quality, environmental concerns, design adjustments for safety and stability, etc., can cause design changes during the project. Budget constraints may require design changes to reduce construction costs, or project funding may be increased, allowing for design enhancements. So this means that we, throughout the projects, often create updated material. The problem is, though, that often we can still be looking at old drawings and descriptions. And the next thing could be client requirements and expectation. Clients may have evolving needs, desires, or expectation as the project progresses. They may request alteration to the design to better align with their version of functional requirements. We have a lack of coordination, which is often caused by communication gaps. Inadequate or ineffective communication channels and practices can hinder the timely exchange of information and updates among project participants, resulting in coordination issues. We often have undefined roles and responsibilities, so project members can be unclear about their roles and responsibilities. This can lead to overlaps, oversights, and coordination issues. And lack of clarity in this area can be a significant issue on a project. We often have change management, so changes in project scope, design, or objectives can disrupt the coordination efforts, especially if changes are not communicated properly or if they lead to confusion among the project team members. We also have a lack of centralized information. So when project information is scattered across various teams and systems, documents or individuals, it can be challenging to access critical updated data, leading to coordination issues. So one of the other topics is inefficient document management. Inefficient document management can lead to errors and rework, and inefficient document management can lead to outdated or inaccurate documents such as blueprints, specification, or project plans, and this can lead to errors during the construction. So workers relying on incorrect information may carry out tasks incorrectly, necessitating rework when discrepancies are discovered. So this means that we have mismatched installations using outdated plans might lead to installation that are not aligning accordingly to the requirements or adjustments or replacements. We can have material wastage. So we have incorrect specifications that can lead to ordering the wrong materials, resulting in wastage and additional costs. Inefficient document management can lead to miscommunication among project stakeholders, and discrepancies in documents can cause confusion about project requirements, leading to misunderstandings and conflicting interpretations. We have delays and project overruns. Inefficient document management can cause delays in retrieving essential documents, obtaining approvals, or making decisions. And these delays can extend project timelines and lead to cost overruns. We can also face increased cost. So we can have a situation where increased cost due to various factors, including errors, rework, legal disputes, or fines for non-compliance, because we don't have an efficient document management system.
Amit, one question.
Yes.
That picture you showed before, is that a typical thing you see in the real world out there?
Well, when I talk to my customers, I often ask them, how do they collaborate? How do they collaborate with other project team members? How do they review the other team's material, and how do they comment on it? And I often hear my customers says, well, we are, just using our Outlook or telephone, an Excel spreadsheet where we can note down some of the issues of the project. But the problem is that it is not centralized. So, we don't have the overview of the project. So the data is fragmented and everybody is, working in their own silos.
Yeah.
And if I have something that I want to communicate out, I might communicate it to some people, but I might forget the rest of the team. So I often hear that, you know, users are trying to communicate, but often we don't have a centralized data silo for all.
Yeah, exactly.
This
So
is,
some of you out there might actually see this picture and
yeah,
recognize yourself.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
So one of the other issues is lack of data-driven decision making. So inefficient data-driven insight will result in project managers might have to struggle to allocate resources optimally, and this could lead to overlocation or underutilization of labor, materials, and equipment. We can have quality control issues. Lack of data analysis can hinder the ability to monitor and maintain quality standards, and defect might go unnoticed. So this is compromising the overall quality of our construction project. Lack of data-driven decision-making can also result in inaccurate project estimations. So without the historical data analysis, accurate project estimations become challenging. Estimations related to time, cost, and resources might be inaccurate, leading to budget overruns and missed deadlines. So this is just to wrap up some of the issues I often talk with my customers about, and maybe you can relate to some of them. If not all, then maybe some of them. And just to sum everything up and to make clear what it is that I'm talking about, I would like to put on a small video, and afterwards I will go to my Autodesk Construction Cloud live demonstration.
Hey! Tell Kevin we need to redo this wall!
We have to demo it all!
The electricians won't play ball!
Redesign the hall?
I'll tell Nathaniel.
Material recall.
Okie dokie.
They're gonna fire Paul.
What did I do?
Make it 3 feet tall!
3 meatballs?
Fire the directing wall!
Yeah, the pipe's too small!
Recall!
Hexagonal!
Horizontal?
Greg! Greg! We need to install
A waterfall.
Cool waterfall.
Be on the same page at every stage with Autodesk Construction Cloud.
Where's Paul?
So let's get started with the demo. ACC, or Autodesk Construction Cloud, is a cloud-based platform. So what you see here is the web interface. And in the user interface, you will see your projects. And I'll just select my project. And the first thing I'll see is that I have an overview of the project members on this project. If I go to my product picker and choose docs, I will have a collection of a lot of powerful tools, and I can use these tools regardless if I'm an architect, consultant, contractor, or a building owner. We have a lot of powerful tools that can be used by the project team members. At first glance, we'll see our folder structure. The folder structure can, of course, be unfolded. It can be edited by the right-click menu, where we can add subfolders, rename, or share drawings or folders with project members, regardless of they are participating in the Autodesk Construction Cloud project. I have an easy control of my permissions. So as an admin, I can choose a folder or a subfolder, go to my permission settings. And I could now edit the permission either by the role that the user is assigned to or by a person. So it's very handy and quick to edit the permissions. If I go down further to in my structure, I could go to my models, and I have an overview of my models in my project. I'll just click on my Revit model, and it opens in a quite powerful viewer. We have a lot of tools in this viewer that benefits all project team members or members that we are collaborating with. So the viewer gives us access to the updated model because within from Revit or AutoCAD or other application, we can save or publish directly from our application to the cloud. So it makes it pretty easy to see the newest updated material because we're not waiting for an exchange. We are storing the files directly on the cloud. So at first glance, I will just go to my window here, and I'm just gonna right click and select Show Properties. And I have a Properties tab to the right. And this is actually all my Revit parameters from my model. So this means that users, regardless of having a Revit on their PC or not, have the opportunity to see Revit model parameters. I also have the opportunity to hide objects if I want to get a better view for my review of the model. I can quickly make, I'm just going to show you here, you can quickly make 3D sections. So let's say I want to see how is this design above the ceiling with the ducts. I can easily make vertical and horizontal changes or sections, sorry. I'll just go out of my properties and I'm just gonna show all projects. I could also go to my model browser, and this gives the user an ability to control what do we want to see in the viewer. I can hide categories or elements to review the model easier. I'm just gonna close my model browser. And if I go to if I go to the top left corner, I have the ability to see the 3D views in my Revit model. So again, users that have no experience with Revit, that does not have a Revit, can now access models and see the different views in the models. They also have the opportunity to go to the sheets in my model. So when a user published their model, they can select which sheets or views should also be available on the cloud. So I'll just go to my sheet, and you can already see that I have some annotation on it. I have a lot of tools for annotation. In the top right corner, I can use a drawing pencil, shapes, text, revision clouds, and so on. I could also have a look at my elevations. If I go to my main floor, I also have the opportunity to measure distances. So users that are waiting for a new updated drawing because they need the newest measurements can go to the sheet and take their measurements. I could also directly from the 2D view select an element and also get my properties. Sorry. So Users now have access to the newest updated models, the newest updated drawings. Normally, we will be creating PDFs and exchange these PDFs with the person that we collaborate with. But now we can just update the latest model and we have access to the newest drawings also. So I'll just go to my 3D view again. So another powerful tool is the first person view. If I select my first person view, I could just click OK, got it, and go to my main floor. And actually, we now have a 3D model where we can have a walkthrough. This could be convenient when you have project meetings or you have meetings with the client. And from the walkthrough, we can also hide selected elements if we want to look further at the design of the docs and see if everything is designed as planned. So it's a very powerful tool to review models. I'll just exit the viewer. Another tool that I want to show you, and actually that can also be shown with a Revit model, but the function is also available on PDFs, DWGs, IFC files, Navisworks, and a lot more. I now have an option to compare. And in this case, I would like to compare a certain version of my model, maybe a version 6 with a version 4. And I'll just select my 3D model. And we can see we have a lot of modified elements. If I just select, let me just see this one, you can see some other categories. If I compare, let's say I want to compare my revision 6 and 8. Also, I can compare on 3D views or the Revit 2D sheets. I'll just hit compare. And I can see I have 26 added elements, 35 removed, 125 modified. And if I just turn off the other categories, I can see that I have some slabs and some floors being added in the new version. I can see I have some elements which has been deleted in the new version. And I also have a category that shows me all the modified elements in the version. When I talk with my customers, this is actually something that many are doing manually. So they're opening, models on different screens and try to see if they can find out what the changes have been. And imagine that you use this function on PDFs that you were receiving, once a month. You could just upload them to Docs, and then you could see the changes.
One question though, is it only the geometry that you can see is changing, or is it also the parameters?
It's also the parameters. So if a wall has a change in the width, you'll also see what parameter is updated in the new version and with which value it has in.
Yeah. So a lot of valuable information in there.
Yes, exactly. If I go to my DWG, I can open AutoCAD files here and view them. So again, I can take measurements. I could compare functions, go to my compare function and compare the changes between the latest versions. Oh, let me just see. I selected the wrong one, I think. I needed this one. We'll try again. Go to my compare. Let's just say I want to see what has happened between these two versions. Yeah. So I get some colors now. I can see that I have something in blue and red. Red is representing the version 3 drawing, and blue is representing the new drawing, the version 6. So now I can toggle between and see my version 6 and how the geometry was in this version. And in the new version, we can see that the window has been removed and replaced with a wall. So again, pretty easy to track changes. And this is something that we all need. It doesn't matter if you're a consultant or an owner or a contractor. Everybody needs to see quickly, and they need to could rely on the changes that they see. And this is a quick way to see what has been changed. And I'll just go out of the comparison mode. And for AutoCAD users, it's also possible to open the DWG in an AutoCAD web browser. So I can actually, in a web browser, use common functionality from AutoCAD through the command line in the bottom, or using my shortcuts that I will normally use in AutoCAD. And I can just save my changes directly in the web browser. I could also open the drawing directly from AutoCAD, but if it's a minor change, I could just quickly make the change in a web browser. So the next function I would like to show you is the issue function. The issue function is a function where you manage your communication and manage which things that could be a challenge on the project. It also gives a centralized platform where everybody are communicating on the same drawings. They have the same overview of the issues of the project. So I'll just go to my models again, and I'll just open my Revit model. And I will just go to, let's just take the main floor. And let's say I'm reviewing this drawing, and I could be unsure about the distance between those ducts. Are they enough? Is the space between them enough? So I click my issues function, and here we can see some categories and types for issues, which can be customized for your company, so it fits with your workflow. So I'll just select design. I mark my issue between the two ducts. I'll put in a description. I assign it to a person that I think has the responsibility to take action on this issue. So you can assign it to a person or to a group. So I'll just assign it to a construction manager, and I can also choose a watcher. So if I have a person that might need to get notified about this issue, I can put a person on. I'll just give it a due date, and I now have created an issue to the project. So you can have a lot of these issues across the project material. You can have it on PDFs, drawings, DWGs, and so on. And if you want to get an overview, you can just go to the Issues tab or button to the left. And here you will have an overview of the project issue. So right now, I'm logged in as an admin, so I can see all issues on the project. But if a construction manager logs in, they will only see the issues that is assigned to construction manager. From the overview, I can select the issues and edit my issues and maybe change the status because now I have worked on it. And I have an overview of the progress of the issues. If I want to create a report of the issues, which we often would like to, I would go to my reports function. And sorry, just before going to the reports function, I just forgot that I just need to show that we can quickly filter on the categories. So now I see everything that has to do with design, or maybe I just want to see all the issues that we have open. So it's pretty easy to get the overview, and everybody is now looking at the same. And we can communicate with each other, and I can go down to my issue card and also add a comment to the chat. So in this way, the team member will now get a notification about that there's been sent a comment, and the person can now answer back, and we have, the history of this issue on the issue as an information. If I go to my reports, I can create templates, and by creating templates, I can create PDF reports. And if I just open my report, I will see that I have a table of content. I have the issue marked on a drawing. I have the information about the issue. And from the PDF, I actually have the opportunity to click on the placement link. And I will actually be redirected to the Autodesk Construction Cloud and to where the issue will put. And I can now either look further into this issue, or maybe I would like to put it in a review status. So these were some common tools that is helpful for all participants on projects.
One question though, Hamid, these reports, can they be automated? So you don't have to do them manually every time?
Yes, you can, through configuration, put up automatical report creation. So once a month or once a week, there will be created an template. Yeah, so it can be pretty easily set up.
Yeah, so every Monday you will receive an overview of all the issues that's open for your role or
exactly
company.
Exactly.
Yeah, perfect, thanks.
If I use my product picker to go to design collaboration, I have a set of tools that are very useful for consultants collaborating on projects. So I'll try to explain how this works. Normally, we can be collaborating through Revit, and normally we will exchange Revit models through an email or some sort of portal. But as we now have the opportunity to save our Revit models onto the cloud and collaborate through the cloud, I actually have the opportunity to see through this timeline where I'm right now are logged in as an architect. I can get an overview of other participants and see if there's something they have shared. Right now, I can see that HVAC has shared a package. And the principle is that participants create packages containing models, PDFs, drawings, DWGs, and all other file formats. But if you receive a package that contains a Revit model, you can click on the package. And again, I'm an architect, and this is a HVAC model that has been shared, or a package that has been shared. And I can now explore the package, and I can review the model. And if I want to use this model as a link in my architectural model, I can click consume. And this means that next time I open my architect model, it will be updated with the HVAC link that I just consumed. So this is an easy way for all participants to get an overview of the project. I can actually just expand the timeline to see my project members and see when a project member has published or created a package, which I, as an architect or consultant, can consume and use in my Revit model directly from the cloud. So if I go to, yeah, sorry,
So,
Kenneth?
Hamid, this is about the collaboration between the different stakeholders, right? And to create a better design in the pre-construction phase, so to speak, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How does that tap into, let's say, less rework and material waste on the construction sites?
Well, I hope it would mean that we have fewer errors because we get the updated material immediately. We have access to the new material immediately. So I think if we can get access to, proper data, we can also solve some of the issues before they get into an issue. So I think we get more insight to the project data, and with this opportunity, we could reduce rework and waste.
Yeah, exactly. What we see is actually that almost 70% of all the issues being created on the construction site relates to something that happens in the design and pre-construction phase. So this is really important to have that quality assurance around your models already in that phase.
Exactly. So I will use my product picker to go to the model coordination. And model coordination includes a set of tools that can be used across the project. I will just select two models, two model views. I could select even more, but I'll just select two views and I'll just click open in viewer. At first glance, I will see that my two models are linked together. So even if these models were not linked together in Revit, I could collect them in one view in the model coordination. And if I click on my clashes button on the top left, I'll see all the clashes in my project. So now all team members have access to clash control. As you saw, I only used 2 or 3, maybe 4 clicks to get all my clashes in the project. It wasn't that advanced, and this means that we can even get our project managers to participate and find all the clashes in the project. And again, the sooner we find these clashes, the less errors and rework we will have on the construction side. And now we can just go through our clashes and determine if this is a real collision. If it is a gypsum wall, then we might just get the carpenter to make the opening for the duct. But if this was a concrete wall, we would have a problem, and I will just create an issue out of it. I'll just click here to get the issue created. And it's actually now creating this issue card as you saw before, and it will put in a description that you can edit if you want. You'll have a small picture down here, and you have it as a coordination and a type that is clash. And this means when you extract a report, you can select that you only want, the types that is clash, and then you have your clash report immediately. So a very strong, powerful tool to get everybody to look at the clashes sooner than we're used to, because it's easy to use for all project members. And I think this is a powerful tool to reduce waste and material waste. So I will just finish off with showing a couple of functions from my build area. And when I select build, I get a lot of tools now available where I can communicate, or where the construction site can communicate directly with the office. Again, we all often see these silos. We have the office and we have the construction site, but now we have a tool that can connect the office with the construction site. I will just show a couple of the opportunities that we have, but actually what we see here is my sheets. I have the newest published sheets. So when a contractor use the app on a mobile device, they can log in and they can see the sheets that is available on the project and has been approved and published. So we know that the drawings we can see as a contractor or a subcontractor is the ones we have to use when we are at the site. Again, we can make some issues like I showed before. We can create forms. So if we can create our own custom forms. So we could open a form and go through the safety inspection on the site, and be aware that this form is available also on the app. So we can take the project to the construction site, to the field. We can, through the app, open the drawings, open the model, open checklists. We also have the possibility to create issues from the app. So when we go through the building site and we see something that we need someone to have attention to, we can use the app to create these issues that I showed you before. And this is something that connects, the office with the construction site, because when you create something from the app, it will be available immediately for the office. So if I go to the construction site and make an issue, well, as soon as I submit this issue, it will be available for my project members in the office, and they can maybe, I hope, take action faster, so we can reduce the rework. So I'll just use 1 second just to show you the user interface, to show the user interface of this build app, and afterwards I will give the word to Kenneth so he can present the next speaker.
Yes, and still feel free to ask questions in the Q&A.
So I just opened the app, and from the app, I can go to my project. And let's imagine that I'm now on the construction site as a contractor or as a consultant, having a walkthrough. I can now access the published newest sheets, and I can go down to my drawing where I have the same options to measure or watch the model in 3D, but I can also use my issues function to make aware of that something needs to be reconsidered. So this was just to show you how quickly we can use the app to contribute to the project when we are on the construction side. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will give the word to Kenneth so he can present the next speaker.
Around Autodesk Construction Cloud. So Jan, let's see, are you available? Yes. You're muted, Jan.
And thank you.
There we go. Thanks.
So, and I'm ready to share my screen too. But I think now that Amit spent most of my time, I'll just tell you about CF model. No, so for I have a presentation that's been called the single source of truth, and that's actually because that's what I think it is when we're working with the ACC. For a starter, I'll just tell you a little about CF model that we are actually, if it will move. So we are one of the largest architectural companies in the Nordics, with 350 employees in 4 countries and 7 offices like this. So that's about the company. So when I started with our the history with us and BIM 360 that actually turned into the ACC, is that back in June 2016, we actually acquired Docs, Glue, and Field because we saw that there was great potential in moving stuff to the cloud, making it possible for the other consultants and for the contractors to have immediate access to all the data that we were making. We tried really to work into this, but kind of, no, not kind of, I'd say actually it failed. It was an expensive learning, but it failed putting it out to the construction side. And that was mainly regarding the way you had to pay for licenses at that time. And that's been changed now. So now things actually are working a lot better. Internally, we still used the software so that it wasn't a complete loss. So we were trying Docs to look at that inside the company and Field for some test projects, and we started making our collision control in Glue. They have new names now. So when we came to 2018, we had a project with a collaborating architect, and that was actually in Iceland. We were working on a Citrix server and sharing documents through Teams and VPN. This wasn't actually working very good. From our side, it was nice. We had actually things working in the cloud, and it was quicker working on the Citrix server with Revit than it was working from normal servers on Revit on your computer. But it didn't really work on Iceland. So we were persuaded to go to BIM 360, and we got some Collaborate Pro licenses. This was the first project, and it was not hosted on our hub. So the findings there was what we could see for just using it. First thing to say here is that opening Revit files from Revit instead of starting a Citrix server, starting Revit and working there actually made it a lot easier for the users. Everyone on the project was working with Revit, so they were also using BIM 360 docs. So we didn't need to have a normal model exchange, which actually made us able to work with very large files. And even working with very large files were faster than it was working with smaller files on the local servers. So open, save, synchronizing, and generating views were actually quite faster than it was when we were working on our server drives. So where we really got the speed into working on the cloud with Revit files was on when Corona struck. We were aware something was happening, and we've been investigating how to do stuff. So the day there was lockdown in Denmark, we actually ordered Collaborate Pro licenses. We got lists of all our projects so that we could get ready to do something. We didn't know that we had to start the next day, but the day after the Denmark was closed down, locked down, we spent 2 hours to make a workable folder structure for just moving the Revit files to the cloud. So from Wednesday, getting the list of projects, until Friday, mid-afternoon, then we had moved all our ongoing projects from the servers to BIM 360 on the cloud. And I took a screenshot here when you can actually see the one called Architect Dummy is from March 12th. So that's actually the day we started moving the projects. So that was actually some hard days, but it worked, and we didn't have downtime for our projects moving this. So that was very nice, and it would be fair to say that we were preparing a week earlier, making a return of investments and budgets and so on, to see what was the cost if we were going to BIM 360 with our models, or should we just continue with working with a VPN connection? And we ditched the VPN connection, as we have had the findings on the Icelandic project, seeing how much faster it actually was to open and save and work with files on the cloud. As soon as we got this up and working, we had some knowledge from working with the earlier coordination software. So we wanted to expand some of the functionality we had in the software when we got started here. So we implemented quite fastly coordination for all our projects, so that we have a template file for coordination that you just link your files into, and you'll get the lists as you see on the left side here. We started working with issues and looking into issues, both as a quality assurance, but also for communicating during your internal work process in our company, and for the work processes with the other consultants. So we put up quality assurance for each phase, so everything is ready when you get a project there. And then we've been working with looking into the sharing of files, because when I say the single source of truth actually means that we move everything from our servers to the cloud. So we don't have any files on our local servers, but they are on the ACC now. So we can share our files directly from the ACC, not using the normal emails or someone use reshare and so on, but we're just sharing it from here. So the goal was the single source of truth, and that's actually provided by having a fixed folder structure on all projects. So I can see the structure here. Actually, we have the archive, published, shared, and WIP, which is the ISO 19650. way, and then we added a client, contractor, engineer, external architect, external landscape architect, so that we can host everyone on our hub. So it can work from there. We have an interdisciplinary folder, so that if we need to work on the same document as one of the engineers, then we will place it in the interdisciplinary, and we both have access, both editing and creating access and so on. So if we look in here, every project has similar files placed in the same folder, so it will be the same whether you are in Sweden or in Denmark or in Germany. You know that if you go to the folder called 0301, that's where your Revit files are, and if you go into the 0105, that's your BIM execution plan, and that's for every project. We can access all data from everywhere, whenever, and that's why we have the illustration from my telephone in the middle here. So we have a CDE containing all project data, all geometry in one place, and then you can say, in order to work with documents, files that you cannot open from the cloud, for instance, Illustrator files, Rhino files, you're using the desktop connector, and then you can open them through the desktop connector, and the desktop connector actually just make a mirror of the files on your C drive. It's been changed in the version 16, so that it's not placed on the user profile, but you can place it wherever you want to on your hard drive, which means that we are structuring that so you will always have your linked files being able to be loaded, and you don't have to find them somewhere else in a folder with my initials or my colleague initials. The Q&A are a big part of this. They really like the way we have to limit access for colleagues, so it's just project members being in here. One of the main parts of this is that you won't be able to go into a project that you haven't been working on, grabbing a detail, using it on a project, and then you didn't actually know that you had a lawsuit just with this detail, and we won't have that anymore because you cannot access it. So unless you've been on a project earlier. The next implementations we're looking into is trying to see if we can use correspondence just for CF Moller and not for the whole project, because we would like it to be our mail correspondence folder. We are planning to use some Power BI for showing a lot of information for the project managers on the Insight page. We are awaiting the final bridge functions, so that we can bridge between other consultants hubs. And then we would like to automate PDF, IFC, and DWG generation, so that we're not spending time on that. So it will just be there every Friday morning when you get to work. So for the summary, and I'm keeping time, I see, we have the one project production platform in the cloud, so that we have all our information in one place. All file types handled by the ACC in the cloud can be opened through the desktop connector, and you can see them in the cloud, and they're getting synchronized to the cloud. I just forgot the $sign actually means that everywhere where I place the $sign, I see it making value for us. It's making value for the client, and it's making value for the ones collaborating with us in the cloud. The more consultants working on the ACC, the more value it brings. And it actually makes sense. So the single source of truth, I think, is the only way going forward, so that you know where you have your information. You can supply information to the one that needs it, or they can actually access it themselves whenever they need it. And when everyone knows where everything is, everyone will be happier. So just for ending it, saying that change management is actually the most difficult task in this transformation. Yes. So that's it from CF Moller.
Thanks a lot, Jan, for sharing your journey with the Autodesk Construction Cloud and the challenges you have faced, and also the opportunities out there. That was great to hear about. So we do have a few minutes left for the Q&A session still. I think it's 3 minutes, so we have to be quick. A lot of questions came in, and we have answered almost all of them, but I think we will highlight some of them once again. So one thing that we did have a few questions around the model coordination. From my point of view, the ability to make class rule set is missing, or is there a way to make sets to a template? And Matt, you answered that one earlier on, but can you say that again?
Yeah, sure. So it's definitely something that's on our roadmap. I'm very fortunate that I have a very responsive team in the background. So I've been on Slack while we've been on the call, and just asking the product team directly what's the plan, and that's on the roadmap. I believe there's it's a 2-step process. The first process will actually be, we'll be releasing a beta in the not too distant future, which will allow you to do some import export, and then lastly, that will be that templates will be made available. So definitely something that we see as a gap in the product today, and we continue to work on it. So yeah, I'm glad the product team were able to kind of answer the questions in the session. So hopefully we've managed to get to as many of the questions that you had. So they've been very, very responsive.
Definitely. One more thing we do hear a lot is around the desktop connector, and you did already answer that also in the chat, but could you elaborate what is going on with the desktop connector moving forward? What are your plans for that, perhaps?
Yes, so we knew that the desktop connector was causing a lot of pain for our customers. And so what we did was we released a completely rebuilt version, which we called, obviously, Desktop Connector 2.0. We've seen some significant improvements in there, but I think some of the question was around synchronization. We have to be very careful with synchronization, because we're obviously a cloud provider. If we synchronize everything all at the same time, it can cause a lot of additional storage and usage of that storage space that we don't need. And we're not looking to add significant overhead in terms of what we deliver, but what we've done is we've created the desktop connector to be more of a pull rather than a push. So effectively, as you open the file, it then pulls that information. Sorry, I did say pull rather than push. It actually pulls that into the desktop connector, your desktop environment, so that you can actually view it. So it's not that dissimilar really to what, say, Office 365 does, in the fact that you can see whether there's a cloud symbol or there's a tick to say that it's actually on your desktop. So I think it's very similar in terms of that technology.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Matt, and thanks to all of you presenting today. I think we're running out of time here. We will follow up on the questions that were not answered today. If you have anything you wish to see from our side afterwards, please let me know. I will just share this one, so you have the info where you can see who to contact. Let's see here. There you go. So if you have any additional questions, please write to me directly. You have the email here. But thank you for attending so much, and looking forward to talking to you again soon.